Tonight, we are learning about a major development in the deadly beating case of Marcy prison inmate Robert Brooks. We're following reports that a grand jury in Oneida County has now handed up a sealed indictment against corrections officers involved in his death. As CBS 6's Brianna Sapardi reports, it's a key step toward prosecution.
More than 2 months after Robert Brooks was brutally beaten by corrections officers, a grand jury has handed up a sealed indictment marking a pivotal step toward criminal charges. This development was reported by the Times-Union. The sealed indictment means the grand jury has found enough to bring charges to those involved in his death. But for now, the indictment remains sealed, meaning the details, including the charges and the names of those involved, are still confidential.
The indictment needs to be unsealed, and it typically is done when they appear for the first time or are arrested. So I would anticipate that they've already agreed to appear or voluntarily appear on Tuesday for arraignment.
This indictment is reportedly set to be unsealed on Tuesday in Oneida County Court. 17 officers and 2 nurses have been implicated in his death, which has been ruled a homicide by the Onondaga County Medical Examiner's Office. Video of the brutal beating was captured on the officers' body cameras and released publicly in December by the Attorney General. You saw the full video as it was released only on 6.
With the potential for as many people involved, I would assume it would filter down into the number of them as people accept plea bargain agreements. Everybody, I would assume there'd be different levels of bargaining based on involvement.
Legal experts believe some defendants may seek plea deals in exchange for testifying against others. Brooks' death has ignited outrage and calls for justice, highlighting concerns about use of force and oversight.
A shackled and handcuffed man. No justice, no peace.
Reporting for CBS 6 News, I'm Brianna Sapardi.
Man, this situation just gets worse as it goes, guys. I'm not, going to show the body cam footage of this incident because it's just going to set me off, man. And I try to stay emotionally balanced during these videos, and certain things, man, upset that. So I will leave the print article, and if I find that video, I'll at least put the link to that, in the description and or pinned comment, so you guys can go check it out if you want to. And if you haven't already saw this, rest in peace to this young man, Daryl. I think, if I remember correctly, 45 years old. I have a video in my files, man. A couple of weeks ago, officers, I think correctional officers, I think both of the stories were in jail. They beat a woman and a gentleman to death. I thought this is what they were talking about. I have the one about the gentleman, and I, for the reasons I just told you guys, been hesitant to even cover it and look at it. But if I'm correct, I did review it, and that's in Arizona, and this is not. This is actually in New York, and I think who should be surprised by that? They didn't cover it much in this video, but the print article that I'm going to leave pinned, Lord willing, it gives a lot more description, man. Number one, I want to say that they said there were like 3 or 4 sergeants standing by. I want you to also know, none of these people, there were 17 people involved according to them, a couple of nurses, 2, 3, 4, 5 nurses, and the rest correctional officers. None of those officers activated their body cameras. Not one of them, not the sergeants, not anybody during this entire encounter. What ended up happening is there's a function on the body cameras, and I'm interested to know if that's just this brand of body camera or if this is true consistently with all police body cameras and even dash cams. And if not, it needs to be. And what that it is there's a function on these particular body cameras, at least, that the cops don't know about. And so whether they activate their body cams or not, some way and at some point the body cameras record, right? No audio, just video. And I think if I remember correctly, they said they don't even record the whole encounter. They just flash on and off. So you will have to do your own research about that. But I just want to highlight that that's how we got this information. This is nothing that they intentionally did not record this incident. Now ask yourself why, knowing you already know the answers. Now let me tell you what the reports are saying happened. This gentleman was transferred from one facility to the next, incarcerated, reportedly already assaulted by some other individuals that weren't cops at a previous facility or somewhere else, and they were transferring him to this new facility, medium security facility, with his hands cuffed behind his back, and he allegedly tried, not even succeeded, tried to, according to these reports, bite one of the officers, to which they began beating him to death. The nurses, medical staff stood by and watched. Don't think I'm saying women when I say nurses. I said nurses. Meaning they could have been male or female, unidentified at this point, unbeknownst to me. The sergeants, male or female, stood by and watched. Other officers stood by and watched. And at least, reportedly, 5 officers beat this man to death while his hands were handcuffed behind his back. I was just thinking, what type of coward do you have to be to treat a human being like that? Like, what type of animalistic desires, instincts, and behaviors do you have to have inside of you to treat it? I mean, I've done some things in my life, bro, but I just can't imagine vulnerable, helpless, defenseless, and you beat them, like, literally to death. Why would you beat them at all, much less to death? Tried to bite? I'd be confused because people use different adjectives, but for me, it couldn't be more clear who the real barbarians are. And then we got all this secretive shit about whether they should be charged or not. I'm probably going to always refer to an encounter I had with a very pretty, polite, petite, hospitable corrections sergeant. The video is on my channel that I had encountered outside of Walmart one day in Broward County, and a bunch of people jumped in the comments and said, and even she was like, I don't really know you bullshit. Them your people. You a cop. And people were in the comments, well, she ain't really a police. Why you on her like that? And I know why that sentiment was there, but y'all bullshit, and she was too. In story after story, they tell us that these people are cops. In story after story, they behave just like the terrorist cops roaming our neighborhoods and city and county and state streets and roads and highways. I just think you should know who they are, man, because I try to space out the videos where they actually kill Americans, because I begin this video telling you these things actually make me feel highly emotional, man. Somebody said in the last video where they went in the gentleman's house, uninvited. He asked them to leave, and the Johnnies, I mean, they were just piling in like it was a family gathering or something. And the gentleman said, will you guys leave? And the cop said, we ain't leaving until we get ready to. Literally, in this man's home, in his living room. He was sitting there relaxing. They came in, told him they ain't leaving. And somebody said in the comments of that video, man, something along the lines of that's why two-way rights exist. And I'm not a fan of unnecessary violence. Unnecessary violence, I'm sorry. But what are we supposed to do, man? Let y'all stand in our homes and tell us y'all ain't gonna leave till y'all get ready to? Let y'all handcuff our loved ones and then beat them to death while we watch and just video record? While y'all do y'all best to hide all the evidence of it? I see no heroes, man. I see cowards. Really bothers my soul and my spirit. Know your rights. Know who these terrorists are. Teach your children to know their rights. And, live cautious and aware, but also enjoy life because it's very beautiful. I'm Trailhand Bill. And to no one's surprise, at least it shouldn't be. It's the Johnnies.
Tonight we are learning about a major development in the deadly beating case of Marcy prison inmate Robert Brooks. We're following reports that a grand jury in Oneida County has now handed up a sealed indictment against corrections officers involved in his death. As CBS 6's Brianna Sapardi reports, it's a key step toward prosecution.
More than 2 months after Robert Brooks was brutally beaten by corrections officers, a grand jury has handed up a sealed indictment marking a pivotal step toward criminal charges. This development was reported by the Times-Union. The sealed indictment means the grand jury has found enough to bring charges to those involved in his death. But for now, the indictment remains sealed, meaning the details, including the charges and the names of those involved, are still confidential.
Indictment needs to be unsealed, and it typically is done when they appear for the first time or are arrested. So I would anticipate that they've already agreed to appear or voluntarily appear on Tuesday for arraignment.
This indictment is reportedly set to be unsealed on Tuesday in Oneida County Court. 17 officers and 2 nurses have been implicated in his death, which has been ruled a homicide by the Onondaga County Medical Examiner's Office. Video of the brutal beating was captured on the officers' body cameras and released publicly in December by the Attorney General. You saw the full video as it was released only on 6.
But the potential for as many people involved, I would assume it would filter down into the number of them as people accept plea bargain agreements. Everybody, I would assume there'd be different levels of bargaining based on involvement.
Legal experts believe some defendants may seek plea deals in exchange for testifying against others. Brooks' death has ignited outrage and calls for justice, highlighting concerns about use of force and oversight.
A shackled and handcuffed man. No justice, no peace.
I didn't really like the way he was walking up in homie face like that. Big dog, what you here to do? I probably would have at least met him halfway. Prayers for the homie family, man. It's crazy that they got to get used to a new life without him because cops can never behave like human beings. Thank you if you made it this far. If you liked the video, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. If you care to go a little further than that, maybe even subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check out a few of the other videos on the channel. Either way, y'all be safe.